and the pursuit of growth. I'm Greg.
I'm
That's
Sammy.
Sammy. What's up, dude?
How's it going, man?
Man, it's going good. It's good to see you. I like the office is looking tight and sharp.
Yeah, we got a little bit of color, a little bit of flair added in here. Got a couple of my possessions I've picked up along my travels as well, too. Some favorite artists in that, too. I see you've got a nice portrait hanging over your bed.
I do, and a guitar that's actually, if I'm being honest, is getting a little dusty in the corner. And
Kind of
so
white.
I need to. I think I need to get that axe out and start working on it a little bit. But maybe that will be a goal for me to take on here as we continue to maneuver through the COVID-19 shelter in place pandemic that we're currently going through right now.
Yeah,
Um,
I think that's one of the things that we wanted to do was, we'll talk a little bit about what the pursuit of growth is, and then we'll talk about some of the things we have coming up. But this is really the first time that we're going to be releasing content or releasing information about this whole, you know, company we've started and this whole process of how we do things and the way we work and what we hope that we can instill in others. So why don't you give us an overview about the pursuit of growth, and we can kind of go from there.
yeah, I think it all started. I guess the genesis, as you will, was probably, gosh, maybe 4 years ago when you and I were having a conversation, and I was telling you that at the time I wanted to write a blog or start a blog called The Pursuit of Growth, which is the name that I came up for the lifestyle that I had adopted probably 6 or 7 years prior, that is really based on coming up with goals in specific areas of life and then following an action plan on accomplishing those goals. And it's all based on growing and kind of the understanding that really joy in life comes from active progress and not necessarily finite achievement. And it kind of goes back to the whole, it's the journey, not the destination. And as we were talking about this, you challenged me and said, well, why instead of writing a blog, why don't you actually write a book? And that really kind of lit a fire. And I remember asking you, I was like, okay, if I'm going to write this book, I don't have the first clue on how to do that. So I'm going to need you to be with me every step of the way. And so I guess, yeah, that was about 3.5 or 4 years ago. And we started writing this book as kind of a memoir and an action plan. And really, we hope it'll be something that will encourage people to look at their lives and understand what types of goals they should be pursuing, and then how should they actually go about accomplishing those. And from there, it actually spawned into several other things. And so, Sammy, you want to talk about a little bit about some of the other initiatives in addition to the book that we've started working on?
Yeah, so first and foremost, that book is kind of the tip of the iceberg, really. It's just an accumulation of facts and thoughts and a true actionable manual that you can utilize to start living a life of pursuing growth. And we can get into a little bit more about what that means. But it's really changed the way that I think, from the way that I've always kind of had thoughts on life, and it's really opened and expanded my mindset of how I go about things. But with that being said, there's other pieces that are going to come with this too. So obviously, social media is a big portion of this. We're going to be building some online communities, and so we want people that are like-minded individuals that are going to come together and rally together to help others achieve that lifestyle of growth, and so we can help each other flourish. Because you want to be around a tribe of people that you believe in, that believe in you, and so we'll talk more about that community. Next, we have the podcast, which frankly, we're in a unique time in the history of the world right now. For those that are finally getting to this, watching this chat that we're having, COVID-19 is well underway. We've been under orders to stay at home for probably about a month now, just over a month and a half. And so a lot of people are looking for ways to consume some new content. So we decided to create this channel. But before this, we had recorded what was the start of our brand new podcast. And to say that we had amazing guests lined up is an understatement. To say that we had already had recorded a couple of different guests that just blew us out of the water is, again, another understatement. So excited to be producing that content again. We're hoping to pick that back up very soon via this channel here. and some other channels that we'll be distributing too. And then we go into just our website, in which you can go on and get all of the content, all of the understandings. We have a blog that's called 1 Minute Matters. So this short little blog that you can read in 1 minute, or give or take, with some actionable tips and some understandings about what we're doing. So this is all encompassing. So we want to be everywhere that people are. So if you're a podcast listener like I am, if you consume video like I do, or you're an avid reader, Greg, I think you're a little bit more of an avid reader than I am. I consume electronically a little bit more than you do. But I think that we're going to be where people need to be. But it comes back down to this. We want to find people where they are. We want to help people understand the lifestyle of pursuing a lifestyle of growth and helping them flourish during these times. Not just during COVID, but during all of life. So where are you? What are you doing? We can meet you where you are, and we're not experts. And Greg, I think that you and I always talk about that is, what do people expect from us, or what do people think that we know that they don't know? And really, it's nothing super unique. It's a mindset. It's a chance for someone to use a framework to be able to understand where they are and help grow a little bit more. So if you want to go into talking a little bit about the pursuit of growth and that framework, or touch base on some of the things I've probably left off in this very long rant, go ahead and pick it up from here.
No, that was great. And I think when you talk about the pursuit of growth, it can be confusing if it's not explained carefully. And so we'll see if I can navigate those waters now and make it as seamless and easily to understand as possible. But when I look back on my life, going back probably about 10 years ago, like many people, I was focused in many of the wrong areas of what I was trying to achieve in life. And I found myself overwhelmed with anxiety and stress. I was struggling with depression. My behaviors were not matching the morals that I had grown up with and adopted. And so I had this constant struggle between my behaviors and what I was doing and what I knew to be right. And really just kind of found myself in an emotional breakdown and a panic. And as a result, and I talk about this in the book, there was one night where it just kind of all came to a hurricane of chaos, and I just broke down. And I remember that evening thinking to myself, I've got to make some changes, and I've got to, start the process of redirecting my life. And I sat down and actually just pulled out a legal pad and just started writing about all the different things that I was upset with about my life, and the things that I was afraid of, my fears, my challenges. And it was really a therapeutic session just to get all of those honest and transparent items onto paper, things that I wouldn't share with people because I was so embarrassed and maybe really riddled with guilt about, and just got them out there so I could read it. And after doing that, I took a second approach and I said, okay, well, what does the person that I believe I'm capable of becoming, what does that look like? And I started writing down another list of the things that I aspired to be, the behavior I aspired to have, the goals that I wanted to pursue. And over time that evening, I looked at what I was so upset about with my life and where I wanted to go with my life, and realized, okay, the answer is somewhere in the middle. So how do I build this bridge to go from here to here? And I started thinking about, okay, as I looked at all these areas of my life that I'm upset about, I started kind of grouping them together. And there were many items that went to my character. And again, I talked about behavior a minute ago, just how I was acting. A lot of things fell into my relationships. Many of my relationships I had let fall away, or I had treated very, very poorly. My health was a mess. The amount of damage I was doing to my body in a variety of ways was not a good thing. And so understanding, okay, these are the areas of my life that I'm having a lot of issues with, my spirituality and my faith. And really just kind of started sitting down and categorizing these things. And I realized that there are 11 areas in life that literally everything that you could possibly be stressed about, or everything that you could possibly have a goal to achieve, falls into one of these 11 areas. And as I started coming up with this process, I realized, okay, if I were to have a plan to grow in each of these 11 categories, which is what the book is about, then what would stop me from living a life of joy, accomplishment, and peace of mind? And that was kind of the genesis of how this all happened. And I'll never forget that night as I went to bed. I went from a state of panic and an emotional breakdown to almost this like high of, I feel like I've just come up with this idea that can really, really change my life. And over the next several years, I worked every single day on studying, reading, researching, and really kind of putting together what this plan would look like and how I could apply it to my life. And that's what I started doing. And I think people that knew me probably started seeing a change in the way that I was living and the way that I was behaving and the things that I was doing. And I really just devoted myself to this lifestyle that I call the pursuit of growth. And then, of course, you and I, being great friends for many years, we were talking about this throughout the whole process. And I recall you and I having conversations about what are different things that that you wanted to pursue growth in, and what were things that you wanted to change about your life. And we both started challenging each other,
Yeah.
and we both started holding each other accountable. And it just all just started going and going and going and going, which over the course of several years led us to the conversation that we just mentioned when we started this video chat. That I said, hey, I want to start writing a blog about what we've been doing these last several years and how it's changed my life. And then fast forward to now, we've got this book and we've got this lifestyle, we've got these focus areas, and then we've got a plan that walks people through how to take goals, define those goals, and then put a process in place to actually be able to achieve those goals and ultimately take initiative and intention for your life.
Yeah. And, my story into this as well is all my life, I've been one of those people that have strived to do better, to do more. And not only more from an accumulation standpoint, but from I know I can do better than this. And so I would try a little bit harder. I know I can, if I didn't do as well as I wanted to, it's like, well, did I give it my best effort? I'm not sure. So let me see what I can do. And so I was utilizing this kind of mindset every single time. And it really came out of myself uh, post, school, post college and all of that, and into my working career, because that's where I would go the extra mile. And that's where I really started to understand, like, if you do put forth some effort, you can get some great results out of it. Honestly, I wish I had focused on that all my life, but hindsight's 2020. Right now is the time. What better time than now to start? And so you and I, whenever we had linked up, I guess, gosh, going back 12, 13, 15 years now, we both were not thinking in this mindset, but I think we both started to learn and realize at the same time where we were deficient in some of those avenues in which we were maybe lacking in pursuing the right opportunities, the right lifestyles. And I didn't have your quote unquote, breakdown like you mentioned, but along the way I struggled with anxiety and fear and all that kind of stuff too. But I think also from a creative standpoint, being in the creative field, you always look at your self-worth as well. What are you producing? What is it looking like? So you always have that little bit of understanding, like in the back of your head, like, is this good enough? Or you not understanding, but the mindset of, is this good enough? Am I doing what I need to be doing? So let me work harder. So I was famous for pulling all-nighters to like do anything and everything to make something awesome, right? And so produce the best I could. And I still do that, candidly. But it's with a different mindset now.
Yeah.
So all of this leading up to reading, learning, studying, researching, putting in better habits and all that kind of helped. And when we collided with these ideas and we've been talking about these ideas, it's just a natural fit. So there's a lot of synergy in what we've talked about throughout the course of this time of writing this book. And that's why we've partnered together to produce all of this, because I think there's two schools of thought that are coming together here. But they're all linking to the same thing. It's like, be intentional and be understanding about what you're doing. I talk a lot about self-awareness, and that has a part of this as well. But as we move forward with what we're doing with the pursuit of growth, I think we're going to be able to really continue to grow, and that's what people are going to latch onto. And it's not all about status. It's not about wealth. It's not about collecting things. This is about understanding who you are and where you want to go, and not being satisfied, but not also exhausting yourself. And I think that's where some people can say, like, oh, well, this is just so much when they first look at it. And it's like, you think about these different things that you're doing already. You're living your life. and you're just enhancing it a little bit more each and every day. So that one step forward each and every day, I think, is a key component of this too. And again, we're going to give people the framework. Is it completely 100% right? Maybe.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe, right? We're going to see, and we're going to tweak, and we're going to adjust, and we're just going to have people give us some good feedback, because again, we want this community to be growing and helping other people, and that's what it's all about. If I can
Yeah.
help you achieve what you want to achieve, and you can help me achieve what I want to achieve, and we can do it together and have fun with it, let's do that. Let's record it. Let's go through life together, with all of us, to be able to achieve a life in which we are happy, experiencing joy, and then being able to get back and serve others as well.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons why I'm so excited about this is, and again, just my testimony and my life, I'm 100% honest when I say this. I wake up every day and I freaking love life. And I've been that way for years now. And that does not mean that I don't have fears and I don't have stress and I still don't have anxieties or have bouts where I fall into a little bit of depression. Um, I still have trials and challenges like everybody else, but my mindset is so completely changed now that I have a different view of the world, and I have just this overwhelming sense of gratitude that's not tied to material possessions or status or any of those type of things, but really in these 11 areas that we talk about. And I'll mention what those 11 areas are here in just a second. But something that I love that you said earlier, Sammy, is talking about achievement. And I think achievement is an amazing thing. And when I look at my life, historically, I was one of those people that just kind of went with the flow. And I wasn't really intentional. And I had this lethargic belief that just things would go my way because they're just going to work out that way. And I just don't need to really care about it. And that may have worked well when I was a child because I had parents that were there to support me. But as an adult in my 20s and early 30s, that view and that mindset set me up for a lot of hardships, and I learned the hard way. And so I think one of the things that surprised me, and again, as I had this emotional breakdown, when we talk about achievement, I don't think people necessarily look at certain areas of their life like their mental health. How can I achieve growth in my mental health? That's not something a lot of people think about.
Mm-hmm.
Quite honestly, people are like, okay, well, when I think of achievement, how can I grow in my job, which is a very good thing. How can I grow in my finances? That's a very good goal to have. How can I grow in maybe my relationship with my wife or my husband? Those type of things. But it's also, how can you achieve growth in your attitude? How can you achieve growth in your character? So, are you a person that realized that if you could grow in boldness or empathy or maybe accountability, what are areas in your life that you're really good at that you can grow further? And maybe what are some areas that you struggle with that you realize that if you had a plan and you started working on becoming a little bit better in those areas, how would that benefit your life? And so it's really starting to think a little bit differently and then finding your joy in those little 1% gains like you talked about every day or every week or every month or every year. That's where that growth comes in. And when you start growing in these different areas of life, you wake up every day with literally so many things that you're excited and looking forward to that it just reshapes the way that you view the world. When you have trials and you have challenges, they don't just completely wipe you out because you have so many more things that are important, that you're passionate about, that you have a plan in place for, that you realize that these trials and challenges, again, aren't finite. They're temporary obstacles. And quite honestly, you start viewing them as opportunities,
Right.
opportunities to grow. And I love the saying, I never fail. I either win or I learn. And I learn 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 until I win. And just the attitude that I have as a result of pursuing growth in my attitude has just completely rewired my brain, my subconscious, and my confidence in so many areas of life. And I think that's what gets me so excited because, again, we live in a world, and you and I have talked about this for many years, that anxiety, stress, and fear, depression, negativity, research across the board shows that those items are at an all-time high in recorded history. We are a society and a culture that is so overwhelmingly stressed, negative stress that is, And I think it's primarily because of the way that we feed ourselves, the things that we feed into our mind,
Right.
the content we take, the negativity that we process,
Or even the
and
actual food that we
yeah,
put in
and the
our mouth.
actual food,
Yeah.
which is actually what I want to jump to real quick. So two things I want to list, the 11 focus areas, and
Yeah.
then I want to ask you, Sammy, to share your story of health and wellness, because I think it's something that's pretty fascinating. But when we talk about these 11 areas, so these are the areas that I believe and you believe that people should start intentionally identifying goals and habits to pursue growth in. So those areas are your faith, your character, your relationships, your attitude, your confidence, your health, your love and service. So what are you doing for other people? Your professional work, your lifelong learning, your financial literacy. So not necessarily your amount of money in your bank account, but how are you learning to steward and to manage well whatever finances you may have?
Or just your
And
understanding
lastly,
overall. Yeah.
yeah, and then your hobbies and experiences.
Yeah.
How are you intentionally planning to enjoy life, to do the things that you love, your small everyday things that you look forward to hobbies that may be, much bigger, whether it's music, crafts, traveling, cooking, you name it.
Mhm.
Um, but again, I want to go back to health and turn it over to you, Sammy, because again, we are a society that really struggles with emotional health in this country, and we are a society that really struggles in physical health. The whole 360-degree mindset of that is just a big mess in this country. And you're somebody that really is taking control of their health, and I think is an inspiration to a lot of people. So, do you want to share your story about your journey and how you use the pursuit of growth to really just kind of change your whole lifestyle?
Yeah, and so my story, and I'll make it more brief than a long, long journey that it has been. But to give the shocking the preamble to it is that all my life I was an athlete. I was always kind of good at sports. So I did football, basketball, baseball, track. So I was always in some sort of a shape, if you will. Not anything too crazy. I was no Adonis by any means. But I was always very active. I was always very in tune with outdoors and playing sports and being very competitive.
We're going to find some pictures and show up and show that you were an Adonis.
Yeah. My Adonis pictures. Yeah, hopefully those are well hidden. I've got the before pictures down. It's the after pictures I'm still. But one of the things that happened was then I moved on to college and I didn't have that strict regimen. Right, I didn't have the ability to be in a sport or playing all the time or being as active. And as you get to college, what do you find? Beer, right? So then beer became something like going out, hanging out, parties, late nights, eating fast food. I grew up in a small town. We didn't have a lot of fast food. I think we had Whataburger was in Sonic and Dairy Queens, and that was pretty much it. Like we didn't, and nothing was open past 10 o'clock, except Whataburger. Great stories there too. But anyway, so I found fast food, found lack of activity, and as naturally you start to gain some weight, you start to get bigger and unhealthier. Took up smoking as a hobby, which was a terrible idea, and drank way too much and all that kind of stuff. Never on the cusp of having any issues, but just typical college stuff. Fast forward to a professional life setting, and kind of doing the same thing. Moved up, started a career. Wasn't really focused on my physical attributes or being active at all. Not focusing on my diet. And then one day, fast forward again to where, for whatever reason, I always had a scale with me. So one day I stepped on a scale in my bathroom. I would do this daily, just part of my morning routine. And the scale was a rotary one. It's a little dial that would turn, and it literally stopped. And I was like, okay, it stopped. But the reason it stopped was there was a peg that kept it from going any further. I literally maxed out this scale. And to my horror and shock, it was at 299 and it stopped there. Now I'm sick. I'm almost 6'4". I've always been kind of like very tall and kind of lean, if you will. But at this point in time, it just blew me away. I was like, wow, it's like 299. No telling how heavy it was. Thinking back now, it's probably close to about 315, I would imagine. And right then and there, that's when I said, like, what have I done? And then that's where my pursuit of growth started in my health and wellness. So to not ramble on about my whole story too much, what I did was I started to develop a plan. And I started to develop a plan to figure out how can I understand to best serve my body and my well-being by being intentional, by making a plan, by having accountability to myself and to others, and then to be able to act upon these actions and celebrate some of those successes along the way. And that's where I turned to a very strict diet. I was a ketogenic diet before it was kind of in fad, or in the current limelight that it is now. And I'm glad that I started it back when I did, because I think now it would have been too easy for me. There's too many cheats and too many supplements. Whereas back then, like, people didn't even know what keto was, and I just found it online. But I stayed strict, and I'm still strict. But along the way, there's lots of successes, there's lots of challenges, there's lots of setbacks, and having that accountability partners that I implemented were such a key factor in that. So now sitting here today, I didn't weigh myself this morning, but I think I'm right at about 184, 183 in that range. So going from probably 315 down to about 183, let's just call it 185 for whatever reason. And that's where I'm sitting now, and I'm active and healthy, and enjoy jogging. I don't like to call myself a runner because I think a snail can go faster than me, but I'm a jogger. I do a lot of outdoor activities, walking. Don't play as many sports now, but I want to get back into those. But I think it's what's intentional about this, and the reason why I think it's important for people to understand is, like, I've tried all those diets, I've done all those fads, I did all those crazy things that you can do. But the thing that helped me the most was to have an intentional plan, was to
Mm.
sit down and write things out, was to understand what I was going to do, and then to tell people about it, like ask people, like Greg, like telling you, like, hey, here's what I'm doing, and you holding me accountable. I think it's key. And that's what the pursuit of growth is like challenging yourself to not beat yourself up when you have a setback, but to also move forward, to have friends and family and colleagues or whomever it may be to help you along the way. And so that's my pursuit of growth, is that the health and wellness thing was a big factor in my life, and still is. Still to this very day, I'm fasting right now, as a matter of fact. So tonight it's barbecue. So we're gonna eat some barbecue after a nice 24-hour fast, and then we'll keep moving on. But uh, that's what this is about, and that's where we want people to understand. And I wanted to close this whole health and wellness segment with, "You can," is the statement I want to leave with. A lot of people will be first to say, "I can't." Change your mindset to "you can." And no matter what, that's what's going to push you through. And so we can talk more about that. That's more bigger picture stuff, but that's a little bit of the messaging, that if you're watching this video now and you say, but I'm 315. I can't get to 185 like Sammy did because I have a bad knee. I've got a bad shoulder. Like, it's just
Yeah.
things like, but you can find a way, but we'll help you. Everyone will help you along the way.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I love to when people that didn't know you 10 years ago see pictures of you from 10 years ago, they don't even think you're the same person.
Right.
Which is it's pretty cool to have seen that transformation. And again, I think that I want to make the point that one of the things that I learned from you with your diet is by being strict on your diet doesn't necessarily mean that you don't enjoy what you eat, and it
Correct.
doesn't mean
I'm
that
a foodie. Yeah.
yeah, and so and you really taught me that, and as a result, I was someone, just because of my metabolism and my stature, it takes a lot for me to gain weight. However, the diet that I had for many years was just poison inside my body, and when I made a change to the diet that I follow now, which is primarily a clean diet and lots of fruits, lean meats, and vegetables type thing, you just feel completely different, and you have so much more energy. You're lighter on your feet. You don't have that sluggish feeling throughout the day. You sleep better. There's just so many advantageous aspects of just really, like you said, taking intention and really working on your health. It's been a huge thing for me, and something that I love to just share with as many people as I can.
Well, something that people don't realize too is that we're in this unprecedented state for our lifetimes right now, where being healthy is something that's so beneficial. So focusing on your health and wellness internally, from inside your body by the way you eat and being active, and you're building your immune system to fight off everything else you can. There's a lot of things we can go into, and I
Oh
coach
yeah.
and I discuss with people, and I'm a health and wellness coach, to teach people how to improve their life through health and wellness. But one of the things that I think you can just do is just understand that what you're putting into your body also affects what your body, it's DNA, it's raw materials for your body to get stronger and better. So think about what you're putting in. Don't think about it as fuel. Think about it as a chance for your body to build and replenish itself from the day. So if you're putting in good inputs, you're going to get good outputs out of it too. So, even if you're listening to this right now and you're like, you know what, I want to make a change, or I've needed to make a change, start small. Again, one thing, change one meal, add a salad to a meal or something like that. We can talk more about that, if you ever need guidance or assistance. But just start to do those little things, start to think differently, but change your mindset, say you can, and that'll help a lot.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite sayings about health that I've always remembered is, if you ever are curious about the benefit of good health, go and talk to somebody who doesn't have it,
Hmm.
and that'll give you all the answers you need.
Yeah.
Um, well, I think what I'm excited about next, Sammy, is as we continue to do these live chats. I think for our next one, we should talk a little bit more about the plan,
Yeah.
because I think that's when a lot of people talk to us that we've shared the concept of the book and of course the podcast and what we're doing. They always ask us, okay, well, this kind of sounds like you guys are really passionate about goals and how the right goals really enhance your lives. And the answer to that's, well, simply yes, that's correct. But what makes it different is, I think that we've come up with, again, the process and the plan that really helps somebody take either a really, really big, enormous goal, or even sometimes just a small little thing that you want to incorporate into your life. And we're able to show them how you start at step one and go through this plan, and it gives you the ability to actually go through that progress, go through that journey, and actually achieve that success that you want. And it takes work, it takes research, it takes focus and intention. But like you said, it's something that every single person can do if they just start with step one, which is desire.
Yep.
And I'm excited to talk a little bit more about that when we hop back on here soon.
Yeah, I think that's a good spot for us to stop and pick back up. And I hope that just in doing these, that we get some people's mindsets shifted, some understanding, some perking some ears up along this time. And we're here to help, and we're here to explain more about what we're doing, and we're here to help you just achieve and grow and have a great life. And you already have a great life, fantastic. You feel like you want to learn a new skill, you feel like you want to maybe travel more, maybe you want to go take that trip. Let's help you get there. Let's help you do that together. So I think that over the next courses of the weeks and different things that we're doing with the pursuit of growth, I think that we're going to be helping a lot of people. And honestly, a lot of people are going to be helping us, because we still have desires and hopes and dreams and everything we're doing. And so as we build this community and build this framework out, I think it's just going to be a fun, it's exciting adventure. We're going to do some public speaking. We're going to be building some communities. We're going to be posting on social media. We're going to be asking people to pop on with us on this, on our podcast, different areas too. So I'm excited about what the future holds. And this is really just the first step. And honestly, it's probably the first announcement we've made outside of friend groups, that we're going out to the world for this. So this is our big announcement party. I guess maybe we have a little bit of a fanfare here. Let's see. There we go. We got some
Nice.
so but yeah, so whenever we release this out, we'll push this out. And if you have questions, you can always reach us. I'm at Sammy at livetpg.com. And Greg, you're at Greg at livetpg.com. Our website, we're updating it now. So if you go there now, you may see some things change here soon. But no worries, it's livetpg.com. It's a work in progress, just like we all are. So Greg, with that, anything else you have before we part ways?
Yeah, I was going to say, go to our Facebook. You can find us if you search for The Pursuit of Growth.
Yep.
You can do that on LinkedIn and Instagram as well. And here very, very soon, you will be able to buy this
There it is.
growth book. It actually has real words in it.
So
And
has
I think
worked.
we'll have to do a conversation, Sammy, on just what it took to learn how to write a book and all the ins and outs and the process that went behind putting this together. But it's something that I'm extremely proud of. I think this is something that, I'll read probably every other month for the rest of my life because it still helps me to grow and to really make sure that I keep my mind,
As you
my
can see,
intentions in the right place.
I've got my makeshift bookmark right here too. I just been going back through it too. One thing I don't think that we touched on is we had a lot of help and support, all the way through this. This
Oh,
hasn't just
yeah.
isn't just us two. So I think we just showcased something that no one's ever seen before, and that's actually the final copy of the book. Now the cover is going to change just a little bit from a different glossy finish to a nice matte finish, but one of the things that we want to do is just to definitely give some love to some people that made it, that really have helped us out so far. I think that would be a good thing because this is a breaking news. This is breaking sounder here. I wish we had some sound effects because we ran a contest on social media channels and asking friends and family to vote on the book cover, and we had a gold version and a white version so that people can see this. If you go to our website, you'll see the gold version. But this is the path we chose. This one out of everything else, the pursuit of growth, the white label won out. So thank you to everyone who voted. Thank you for everyone that participated, for those opinions and thoughts, and for all the great comments that we had. We have to give a huge shout out to Logan Bingaman. He's a buddy of ours. He's a great he's a great friend, and he's somebody that's been helping us along the way. But he designed the cover for us, did it all pro bono. We owe him so much. And then to Brian Hargrove, and my basically the only brother I've ever had outside of actually I don't have any brothers, so he's a pseudo brother, but Ted Brinkley, Greg's actual brother, who's been helping us along the way. So shout outs to Brian Hargrove and Ted Brinkley for helping us along the way too. They're helping us build this framework. So again, breaking news. There's the cover of the book. It'll be online and ready to be ordered very, very shortly. So with that, Greg, I think we've talked a lot here now, and hopefully we still have one person watching this. But if there's anything they can do, if we can do to help them out, just again, feel free to reach out to us, and we appreciate everything. I hope everyone's staying safe and healthy at this time.
That's right. Till next time. Adios.
Adios.